Hello, you're watching movie snapshot scenes, and this is the summary of Forrest Gump. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. A single feather floats through the sky. It twists and turns, carried by the wind, drifting down into the quiet streets of Savannah, Georgia, until it lands gently at the feet of a man sitting on a bench. That man is Forrest Gump. Dressed in a crisp, white suit and worn sneakers, Forrest begins to tell his life story to strangers who sit beside him. With a soft southern voice and a simple honesty, he recalls a journey that is anything but ordinary. From the very beginning, Forrest was different. Born with a crooked back and low IQ, doctors told his mother that he might not live a normal life. But Mrs. Gump, fierce and loving, refused to let her son be defined by limits. "Stupid is as stupid does," she told him, and Forrest believed her. Wearing leg braces and often bullied, Forrest finds a friend in Jenny Curran, a girl with a troubled home but a kind heart. Jenny becomes his light, his first and truest, love, even if she doesn't always stay by his side. One day, while fleeing bullies, Forrest begins to run, and something miraculous happens. His braces fall off, and he runs faster than anyone ever imagined. From that moment on, Forrest runs into destiny. His running earns him a football scholarship to the University of Alabama, where he plays in front of crowds and even meets President John F. Kennedy. Through pure heart and accidental timing, Forrest stumbles into history again and again. But through it all, he keeps returning to his memories of Jenny. She appears like a dream, sometimes close, sometimes far, but always unreachable. Forrest doesn't understand why she drifts away, but he never stops caring. His love is pure, patient, and unconditional. Sitting on the bench with his box of chocolates, Forrest tells his story not for praise, but simply because it's what he knows. And like the feather, his life has been carried by winds he never tried to control. It's only the beginning, because Forrest Gump has many more stories to tell. Forrest keeps telling his story. Another stranger joins him on the bench, another listener, another chapter. After college, Forrest is approached by army recruiters. With no plans and no fear, he joins. Just like that, he's sent to Vietnam, a land of heat, mud, and endless jungle. Forrest doesn't understand the war. He doesn't try to. He just does what he's told, because that's what Forrest Gump does. In Vietnam, he meets Benjamin Buford Blue, or simply Bubba, a fellow soldier who talks non-stop about shrimp. Bubba dreams of starting a shrimping business after the war. Fried shrimp, boiled shrimp, shrimp gumbo. Forrest hears it all. The two become best friends, bonded by simplicity and loyalty. Bubba tells Forrest that after the war, they'll buy a boat together and catch shrimp. Forrest promises, but war is cruel. During a patrol, Forrest's unit is ambushed. Bullets rain down. Smoke fills the air. In the chaos, Forrest runs, just like he always does. But he doesn't run away. He runs back. Time and time again, Forrest charges into danger to rescue his fellow soldiers. He pulls out man after man. He even saves Lieutenant Dan, their commanding officer, who didn't want to be saved. Forrest finally finds Bubba, but it's too late. Bubba dies in Forrest's arms, whispering, "I want to go home." Forrest receives the Medal of Honor for his bravery, but all he can think about is Bubba. The shrimp boat dream becomes his mission, not just for himself, but for the friend he lost. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Dan, once proud and fierce, is now broken, physically and emotionally. Having lost his legs, he's furious at Forrest for saving him. "You cheated me out of my destiny," he says. He believes his life had no purpose without dying in battle. Forrest doesn't argue. He just listens. Back home, Forrest becomes a national hero. He meets more presidents, he gives speeches, but none of it matters to him. What matters is loyalty and keeping promises. Even if the world doesn't understand him, Forrest knows who he is. And when the time comes, he remembers Bubba's dream. So, he buys a boat, just like he said he would. Back on the bench, Forrest unwraps another chocolate. He tells the next part of his story like it's no big deal, but it is. He buys a shrimping boat, just like he promised Bubba. He names it the Jenny. At first, things don't go well. Forrest doesn't know the first thing about shrimping. Days pass with empty nets. The townspeople laugh. No one believes he can succeed. But Forrest never quits. One day, an unexpected figure returns, Lieutenant Dan. Now bitter and in a wheelchair, Dan arrives at the dock with nothing to lose. He joins Forrest, not for the shrimp, but for something deeper. A reason to be part of something again. A reason to be alive. The two men, one calm and innocent, the other angry and broken, form an unlikely crew. Still, the nets stay empty. Then comes the storm. A hurricane tears through the coast. Boats are destroyed. Towns are flooded. Forrest and Lieutenant Dan survive only because they're out in open waters, riding through the chaos, clinging to hope. When the storm clears, they find something remarkable. The Jenny is the only boat left. With no competition, the shrimp business booms. Net after net comes up full. The Bubba Gump Shrimp Company is born. Lieutenant Dan begins to change. He finds peace on the water. One day, he quietly thanks Forrest for saving his life, not just in Vietnam, but after. Forrest doesn't say much, but his heart understands. Wealth follows success. Forrest becomes a millionaire. But money never changes him. He donates much of it, gives Bubba's family a share, helps people in need, and still lives simply. Then, without warning, Forrest makes a decision that surprises everyone. He goes home. His mother is ill. He sits by her side until she passes. Her final words gentle and proud. You have to do the best with what God gave you. Forrest listens. He always has, and when he finds himself alone again, one thought returns like it always does. Jenny. She's still out there, somewhere, lost, hurting, running. And Forrest begins to feel something unfamiliar, a longing he doesn't know how to name. As Forrest continues his story on the bench, he speaks her name softly. Jenny. She was always there, and never there. Through every chapter of his life, she came and went like the wind. And just when he least expects it, she returns. Jenny writes Forrest a letter asking him to come visit. He goes. No hesitation. She lives in a small apartment, working as a waitress, quiet and different. Time has passed. Her eyes are tired. Her spirit feels dimmer. But to Forrest, she's still Jenny. They walk together. Talk. She shows him her life, and he listens to her pain. The years of wandering, of bad choices, of searching for something she never found. But with Forrest, there's no judgment, just love. They dance to old music. They laugh. They remember the tree they climbed as kids. The world feels simple again. For a while, Jenny stays. She rests. One night, as the stars shine above them, she looks at Forrest and asks, "Do you want to marry me?" He says yes. But the next morning, she's gone. No note, no goodbye, just silence. Forrest returns to his routine, cutting grass at the local school, walking quietly through life. He doesn't chase Jenny, he just waits. Then one day, another letter arrives. Jenny wants to see him again. Back on the bench in Savannah, Forrest reveals the true reason for his journey. He isn't just telling stories to pass the time, he's waiting for the right bus to see Jenny and someone else. She has a son. His name is Forrest. He has blue eyes, a bright smile, and a calm heart. Jenny tells Forrest the truth. He is the father. Forrest is speechless, overwhelmed. He steps back, afraid. Is he smart? He asks. terrified that his son might carry the same label he once wore. Jenny nods, smiling through tears. He's the smartest in his class. In that moment, Forrest's heart breaks and heals all at once. A new story begins, a chapter he never imagined. The bench grows quiet. Forrest speaks slower now, as if each word carries more weight. His voice softens when he speaks of Jenny, of their final chapter. After years apart, they are finally together. Not just in memories or passing visits, but in a home. Jenny invites Forrest and little Forrest Jr. to stay. They become a family, simple and real. Forrest learns how to be a father, reading bedtime stories, walking his son to the school bus, watching him grow with wonder and pride. But happiness for Forrest never lasts long without a shadow. Jenny is sick. The doctors don't know what it is. Some new virus, they say. There's no cure, no explanation, just time, limited time. Forrest stays by her side. He cooks, cleans, and sits with her in the sunlight. They marry in a quiet backyard ceremony. Only a few guests attend. Lieutenant Dan, now walking with prosthetic legs and a smile. Even he has found peace. Jenny wears a white dress. Forrest says it's the happiest day of his life. Every moment becomes precious. They sit under the old tree from their childhood, the one where they carve their names. Forrest talks, and Jenny listens. Sometimes she speaks, sometimes she just smiles. Then, one morning, she's gone. No last words, just peace. Forrest buries her beneath the tree they once loved. He visits every day, sometimes with flowers, sometimes with tears, and sometimes with stories, just like on the bench. He tells her about their son, how smart he is, how kind, how much he reminds him of her. If there's anything you need, I won't be far, he says to the grave. It's not goodbye, not really. Because Forrest doesn't understand love in pieces. He loves completely, fully, forever. And though Jenny is gone, she remains in every memory, in every step, in every feather that drifts through the breeze. Life moves forward, but love, for Forrest, stays, still, rooted like the tree that holds her name. The story draws closer to the present. Forrest finishes his tale just as the bus arrives. He rises slowly from the bench, box of chocolates in hand, and says goodbye to the stranger beside him. Just one of many who now know the story of a man who never tried to be special, but somehow was. He's not waiting for the bus anymore. He was never getting on. He was waiting for Forrest Jr. Forrest walks to a small white house with a porch and a swing. There, on the steps, his son waits, dressed for school, backpack ready. The moment is quiet, ordinary, yet extraordinary in its simplicity. "You ready?" Forrest asks. The boy nods. Together they walk down the gravel path toward the road. Forrest Jr. climbs aboard the yellow school bus, just like his father once did, decades ago. The driver, kind and familiar, greets the boy by name. Forrest Jr. chooses a seat. He waves. Forrest waves back. And then he sits on the tree stump near the road, exactly where his own mother once sat, watching him leave for school. The world has changed, but somehow it has come full circle. He sits still, he watches, he waits, and as the bus pulls away, the breeze picks up. A white feather floats past, dancing gently on the wind. It drifts up, down, and all around, just like life, not controlled, not planned, just happening, carried by chance, carried by love. Forrest watches it with wonder, the same way he's watched everything, with open eyes and an open heart. He doesn't try to grab it, he simply lets it be. Because Forrest understands now, life doesn't need to be complicated to be meaningful. Every step, every mistake, every person we love becomes part of who we are. His story is full of pain, yes, but also joy, purpose, and truth. And in the eyes of his son, Forrest sees the best parts of Jenny and of himself. The feather continues to float, and life goes on. The feather floats higher, carried on a quiet wind. Forrest Gump remains seated under the same tree, watching the road, the sky, the world. His life has slowed, but his heart remains full. He's no hero in his eyes. He's just a man who lived. He never planned anything. He didn't chase success. He didn't try to be important. But life somehow brought him across moments that changed history and hearts. And now, with Jenny gone and Forrest Jr. growing, Forrest has become something new. A storyteller. He tells stories not to impress, but to remember. Each one is a thread, a moment in time that keeps the people he loves close. Jenny, Bubba, Lieutenant Dan, his mama. He tells their stories to strangers, neighbors, and his son. Because he believes stories matter. They carry love, they carry truth, and sometimes they help us understand the world just a little better. He talks about running, about war, about shrimp, about dancing with Jenny in the moonlight, and through it all, he never stops being kind, never stops listening, never stops loving. Forrest visits Jenny's grave often. He brings flowers. He talks to her about their son, how smart he is, how fast he's growing, how proud she'd be. Sometimes he cries, sometimes he just sits. "I miss you, Jenny," he says softly. "You'd be so proud of him. He's so smart, like you." He doesn't ask for much. He just wants the people he loves to know he loved them. And in that, Forrest Gump teaches the world something extraordinary. That a simple life, lived with honesty, kindness, and love, is not simple at all. It's profound. It's enough. As the days pass, Forrest watches the seasons change. He plants roots where others chase the wind. He lives in the moment, in the memory, in the heartbeat of the people he holds dear. And when he speaks with truth. Because to Forrest, life really is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, but if you're lucky, you find something sweet.